everybody. This is Nicholaus Arson from the Hives. How are you going today?
I'm very good, thanks. Hey there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great to speak to you, and especially with this new album coming up. I've listened to quite a bit. I've listened to all of it. I've had a pre-release copy for review, and it's made me very excited. I've not been excited for a record release in a long time, but this one has made me very excited. So, congratulations on that upcoming release.
Thank you very much.
So, you've just arrived in Australia on Monday, was it?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, we had a show in Fremantle the day before yesterday, and then we came into Melbourne yesterday, and then two shows now today and tomorrow, then in Melbourne, and then we keep going. I guess
Yeah.
it's Sydney and Brisbane, and then we go to Japan.
Nice. Um, so you've also just before you arrived, you dropped Legalize Living, your latest single. Um, it was rightly noted in there that there are governments around the world making it very difficult to legally live at the moment. Um, I've actually found just listening through your latest album, um, that this is probably your most overtly political album. Like you guys have always done that social commentary in your songs, but this one seems to be a little bit more pointed.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe it's more detailed. It used to be sort of more broad strokes, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And obviously, I mean, it would be going without saying the way the world is at the moment has potentially pushed it in that direction.
Maybe, or it's something, bands evolving or something. It's hard to say. Sometimes it
Yeah.
just comes out that way. Sometimes
Yeah.
lyrics are, end up being more detailed than other times.
Yeah. Um, so one of the things that I want to discuss is how I found you guys. So I found your new favorite band in like a in a like just a collection of new albums that were being bundled off by a record shop. And I thought this looks interesting. And I tell you now, the second that I put that on, I was absolutely hooked on you guys. Um,
Nice.
so you guys have always sort of been that sort of described as that garage revival. I feel that you guys have a three-quarters of you still sit in that punk
Yeah,
genre.
yeah. I mean, we started as a punk band,
Yep.
and but we were listening a lot to 60s music as well. I mean, it's kind of like, whatever, the Ramones, they would listen to sort of, girl group music, and like
Yep.
lots of, sort of 60s radio and stuff. And I think after that we sort of discovered, there were these bands, in the 60s that were, sort of more rock or raw, sort of rock,
Mm.
like the Sonics and stuff. But we only discovered them after the fact, when people said, "Hey, you guys sound like garage rock," and we're like, "What's
Yeah,
that?"
right.
Or garage
Yeah.
punk, rather, is what they called it then, garage punk. uh, I guess, you'd heard about garage rock, but garage punk was that. So,
Yep.
um, but yeah, I mean, the first record, I mean, even on this one, there's like, OCDOD, which is more like a sort of hardcore punk number almost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
So yeah, no, it's not real, being being someone working the archive at Garage Rock Inc. or whatever, garage, you know,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's maybe less of a straight 60s sound than it is, sort of us, maybe just fusing, like if you got to pick, maybe if you could fuse, whatever, Ramones and AC/DC and the Cramps and, maybe somebody like the Sonics, and that's kind of what we're trying to do in a way. You're fusing
Yep.
all that stuff with, you know,
Your own
uh,
inflection and
yeah, yeah. So, no, I agree. We're there are other bands who might be more sort of traditionalists when it comes to sort of a garage rock revival,
yep.
and but I mean, with a revival, I mean, do you revive it by playing exactly like you played it before, or do you revive it by drawing inspiration from it and doing something
Yeah.
new with it? It's kind of hard to say, but it's it's a little bit either or. But for us, it
Yeah.
was. I think we get, if we feel like it's too traditional, I think we get restless a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You guys definitely seem like a band that knows its own way through that sort of pigeonholing, and you guys have I feel, other than the fact that it keeps coming up with garage, 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 I feel that you guys have made your own sound. Like a Hive song comes on the radio, and you can say that the Hives, yeah.
yeah. And I think you want that too. I mean, it'd be. I mean, you can be in bands that sort of emulate other bands more so than what we've done. But I mean, we obviously have strong inspirations from a lot of bands, and we'll have certain songs that'll sound more like one or the other or something. But I
Yep.
think as a whole, I think we've been, we've always took sort of pride in sort of finding our own way a little bit, like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the new album having just been sort of, I guess, probably was recorded probably last year, I'm assuming, and it's being packaged this year. Um, did you guys, what sort of music do you listen to sort of get inspiration, or do you just come in clean and not listening to anything, just going with the muse?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's you have your parts, and they come to you, in different ways, but
Yep,
and then that's kind of sometimes when you're in record making mode, that's what you do. You
yep,
just work on those parts and work on fiddling around, moving parts around and stuff. It's like Lego, you're just
yep,
going through a whole batch of stuff.
yep,
And then sometimes you might have like a great piece that you think, yeah, this will sort of, this will sit good on the record. We'll have to build around it.
yep.
And I think when you're doing that, like I don't go home after that and listen to music.
Mm,
There's no room for that. Like
yeah,
when you're in record making mode, you're so fatigued of music during the rest of it, so it has to be rest, and you're constantly kind of, if you're in good record making mode, you're thinking about it almost 24 hours a day, which is like the
yep,
best thing I think. And sometimes it can take you a while to get into that mode, but when you're in that mode, all the ideas that sort of pop into your head are usually about music. Like you can wake up in the morning and they'll be there, like dang, 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 before
yep,
ideas that you want to try.
yeah.
So that's and that could be, lyrics, or that could be, music. So it's there's not really room to listen to other music. But yeah, I think there's lots of great bands,
So
that I would be
outside,
listening to if I had the energy.
yeah, that's
I
it.
mean,
So
I listen to it sometimes, but it's, I won't really go and, put on a playlist of, sort of Hives related punk on the
yeah,
plane.
yeah, fair enough. Um, is there any Australian bands that you're super like, or not super into, but you're really, really interested in and have listened to, other than obviously the old ones like AC/DC and
Yeah, yeah. But I
any?
mean, we played with Emil and the Sniffers on the Foo Fighters tour, and I always
Yep,
liked them. And, there are a whole bunch of other, like the Chats are cool. And,
yep,
um, there was always great bands. There was, I did an interview with some other guy, and he was like, well, we always, liked the Australian bands like AC/DC, the Saints, and,
yep,
the Victims. And I was like, yeah, yeah, they're all great. It's, Radio Birdman, and like all the traditional stuff is pretty rad. And then, there are a whole bunch of new bands now that I think are sounding really great. We got a
mm,
band on, I think they'll be on tonight, Split System.
yep,
Um, I mean, there's a bunch of that sort of that type of style that I think
yeah.
are very good. Where I kind of most like where I like most of them. Almost.
Yeah, yeah. I Yeah, I think most musicians are music gourmands rather than gourmet. They
Mm.
like to take in as much as they can when they can, you
Yeah,
know. So, I
yeah,
think
and
that
sometimes you don't know if they're Australian or not. Like I guess King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard are from
oh yes,
Australia,
the
maybe.
mouthful of that,
Yeah,
yes.
that's harder to say than the Hives forever, forever the Hives, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
they are also. I like them as well. So there's a whole bunch of great bands. There was always great bands here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So just switching gears a little bit, I actually got to catch one of your virtual concerts during
Yeah, yeah.
COVID. How did they come about? And was it sort of a mechanism to not go mad while everybody was in lockdown, or?
I think so. Yeah, like the restrictions were so tough on music,
Yeah, absolutely.
on our business, if you want to call it. Like we couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't tour. Like you
Yeah.
could go and have, like you could go and do sort of speak tours and stuff in front of maybe a certain amount of people. But if you brought a guitar, that was illegal, kind of. So
Yeah,
it's,
right. Okay.
that's sort of
Yeah.
what it ends up being. You got to do some sort of restriction, and then it'll be broad strokes, and then you might, it might hit a bit different here and there. But yeah, I mean, there was nothing for us to do. We were just walking around at home doing nothing.
Yep.
And you didn't really want to release a record in that period either. We had
No.
friends in bands who released records, and it was just like they just released them into a void, because you can't
Yep.
tour the record. So we kind of just sat for a little bit, and then the virtual. I mean, everybody was doing, sort of live streams and stuff, and we all thought they looked like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And we said we're not going to do that, but we'll have to figure out a way where it's going to sound good, or where it's going to look good, and where it's going to sound good, kind of. And
Mm.
we came up with the thing that it's, the one, like if you watch something on a little screen, I've always had like all these favorite clips of music bands, and it's a lot of times it's just that it's one camera. Like there's a
Yeah.
clip of Dead Kennedys playing in a room, in a studio, and it's
Yep.
I love that, and it's just like you feel like you're in with the band, kind of.
Yep.
And
Yep.
a lot of the people did like these sort of. I think we did one for like a Mexican festival or something. It was just like all several cameras on, and you just lose the fact of being close to the band. But if you use
Mm-hmm.
one camera and you get to have that camera kind of walk around, then you can be even closer to the band
Yep.
than you're ever going to be live. And so we said we're going to do that. We're going to have one camera that's going to walk around, in the band, kind of, and then we're going to kind of record it well and stuff. And then we wanted to do like a regular show where it would be like the same time for each
Mm-hmm.
time zone. So if you were in Sydney, the show would be at 8 o'clock in the evening. So
Yep.
for us, then that was like at maybe 10 in the morning or something,
Yep.
or 8, yeah, something like that. So it was really fun to do this, like shows. Either you'd play at 2 in the morning in Sweden, or we'd play at 10 in the morning, or
Yep.
it was really odd, but it was kind
Yeah.
of fun. And also that thing where we had where people could phone in and we could phone them after the fact, because we
Yep.
had, I think we took 2 calls during the where people could maybe wish
Yeah, I
for
think
a
I
song or
saw.
something.
Yeah, I think that was one of the ones that I saw where the phone call was ta one of the phone calls was taken.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just hilarious. And I'm just sitting there going, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to connect with fans, and
Yes.
during a time where you really couldn't, so
Yep.
that was super fun. I thought, we
The
really
pe
enjoyed it. Like after the first show, I think we did 6 of them in the
hmm
same location. So we did like 3 nights, and then we had some time off, and then we did 3 more nights.
Yep.
So it's like over the course of 2 weeks, I think. And when we did the first one, we came back, and we, like, after we sort of stopped filming, then we were like, this may be one of the best things we ever did.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
told each other, this was good.
Yeah. Well, for a person who was feeling who has worked in the music industry for a while and and is used to going to gigs multiple times a week,
Yeah,
it was like this having this offered to me and me thinking, oh, it's probably just going to be, as you say, like, the streaming on TikTok and stuff like that that was,
yeah,
and Instagram that was happening at the time. And I just thought, oh, this is going to be boring. And then, I actually felt like I was there because of the way, and now you've explained why, because the way
yeah,
the
yeah,
camera was.
yeah,
So it was like a lifeline to sort of, you know, have a bit
yeah.
of
Because as soon
party
as
in
you
the
cut to a
lounge
different
room.
camera, you lose that perspective, and I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. So we've probably got 5 minutes left. What else have I got here? So the last album, The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons.
Yes,
Have you killed him off completely?
we're not killing anyone. We don't know what's going on here. It's just like it's a big mess of stuff going on in the Hives realm of things.
Yeah.
But
So it's a
it's
metaphorical
all
death.
for the greater good, it seems. Like us, releasing 2 albums when there were before this there were none.
Yeah.
It's all for the greater good, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're in Australia. Have you got to do anything yet, or has it just been media, play
There's been a
media?
lot of press. I think we came in on the first day, and then we had sort of that day off just to kind of readjust. But it's mostly been lack of sleep, actually.
Yeah,
Like yesterday,
right.
last night, I didn't sleep anything,
Yep.
and then you walk around and it's like now I haven't slept for like 30 hours.
Yep. Yep.
So, but I think I
I'm
managed to
surprised you're
squeeze
still
in
upright.
maybe 2 plus 3 tonight
Yep.
or something. So I
Yep.
hope I'm in good shape for the show.
Oh, you'll be fine, I'm sure. So is there anything you're going to get up to outside of the shows that
It all depends on when you're awake. It
this
might
is
be going
true?
out late at night, or it might be going out early in the morning.
And
Whatever
Australia's
it
not
might
good at
be. So
like,
either it's pancakes in the morning, or it might be going out
yep.
for beers at night. But I don't know.
Yep.
Like when I'm in Australia, I like to catch a bit of sea. See the ocean a little bit and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So
absolutely.
we'll see if there's time for that.
We do have some of the best beaches in the world here.
Yeah, I can see it from my room. I can see the bay from
Yep.
my room window,
Yep.
but
Port
it's
Phillip
kind of
Bay.
far off, and
It'll be a
it's in
bit grey
between two
today, I reckon.
skyscrapers. It's just like a little hole.
Yeah,
So I'd like to be
absolutely.
closer, I think.
Well, thank you for talking to me today.
Thanks for
I
having
hope you
me.
get some sleep
Thank you very
and
much.
hopefully we'll catch you at the Brisbane show.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Thanks for
Excellent.
talking today.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Take
bye.
care.